Yo, what's up, guys? Today I just wanted to talk about why wealthy people make more money by not caring about money. So, number one is they care about value, they don't care about pennies. So, they're not looking to save money every day, every week, or every month. They're constantly looking on how they can create value to be able to make more money in the future. They obsess over creation. They want to turn $1,000 into 10,000. They're not looking to save on coffee. They're not looking to save on, making good food that's going to be able to take take their mind to another level. They're buying expensive grass-fed beef and all these things, but they're not trying to save pennies because they understand how money works. They're looking to create. Everybody in this world, they're trying to consume. They're watching movies. They're constantly watching content, but they're not becoming the producers. And wealthy people, they look to create. They look to build stuff. Another thing they do is they outsource what's below their pay rate. So you know they don't waste time on tasks that save them like $20 or $10. They're looking to outsource everything because they understand that their time is more than $20 an hour, or $17 an hour. They understand that their time is there's no limit to how much money they can make every hour, because they don't look to get paid per hour. They look to get paid per outcome. So anything they can outsource that's gonna free up their time, that's the most important thing. They think of time as leverage also, and not in terms of savings. So, like, if they can leverage, 5 hours out of their day where they can focus on attending, a meeting that's gonna be able for them to get funding for a business opportunity, whether it's a couple $1,000s or whatever. That's more important to them than taking 5 hours and working on a task that could be outsourced, because they understand if they get that, if that meeting goes well and they get that money, well, they can go ahead and pay some of that money to somebody else who's willing to work per hour, where they could outsource, and they can go in whatever outcome they make from obtaining that funding. They're able to go ahead and take that money to make more money. Um, Another thing they do is they invest emotionally. They don't need money, so like for them they invest they invest, sorry, not emotionally, they invest emotionless. So as they always say, like, timing in the market beats timing the market. um, and like when you're desperate, you make bad decisions. So they stay rational and they wait out the bad markets. Like when the market is in the red, that's the best time to actually go in and invest your money. So what they do is they actually just wait it out. Like, they understand that their half of their capital is probably going to drop by 20-30%, maybe 10% during those times. But if they just hold it out and wait it out, eventually, their capital, it will go back into the green, and it'll overcome the bad times. So they understand that. A lot of them have long-term mindsets. They're not in it for like short-term day trades. They're not in it to try to flip penny stocks, and they're not in it to listen to the newest fad. The coin that's going to be up this month, or the stock that is rising this month, and they need to jump in on it. They're not in for that. They're in to preserve their capital, whether the markets are bad or green. A lot of people, they take their money out real quick when the markets go red because they get scared. They say, oh, this is money that I needed. This is I shouldn't have invested this money. This is money that I should have kept liquid. But it's very important to not invest if you're not ready for it. And that's what the wealthy understand, is they're not scared to play around and get in the market for long term, because they understand that long term is always the best. And another thing is they focus on vision. They don't focus on bills. They don't focus on trying to work overtime so they can get ahead on their bills, or it's always, of course, a good thing to do that, but they understand that working overtime is not going to fix your position in life. Working overtime actually is going to take up the hours and take up your energy needed to focus on opportunities to get you out of your situation. Instead of working overtime where the government is going to take half of that anyways, it's better to actually use that time in order to figure out what kind of skill you can learn, or not even what skill you can learn, but what opportunities are out there right now that I could take advantage of, that's going to make me more in return, that's going to be able to pay me in the long term, not pay me in the short term where it's going to be half of it's going to be taking anyways. Wealthy people are also focused on building things that print money. They're focused on building, ways on how eventually income will become passive for them. Not only just investing, but creating a product or a service, that could be run while they're sleeping. Creating a product like a digital product, or whether it's a physical product where they could sell at a store, where they can hire people to sell it for them, receptionists, whoever. They're focused on creating what do people need in this world. What is a need what is a need in this world that people want, and that is more important than focusing on trying to work overtime and trying to pay your bills. Create systems. You want to create systems, things that are able to work for you. Always want to be building and creating things. So that's all I have to say for today. Like, wealthy people, they're not afraid to spend money, and they don't care about the money. They care about the creation, because that's where the money is going to come from anyways. So stop thinking like somebody who's scared to spend, and start thinking like somebody who's really ready to multiply your money.